jump on real quick and talk about the value of going out of network compared to going in network. So price point, it's generally assumed that when you use your insurance, you're actually saving money. And since insurance coverage is going down and down and deductibles are going up and up, that isn't always the case anymore. And I had a new review left on Google today about how I was effective and efficient and respective of someone's money when they came to see me. And that is one of my goals, along with price transparency, which is not popular or done really at all in the healthcare world. It's the only service in America where you don't know how much you're going to pay until you get the bill. But that is a rant for a different time. Today I wanted to talk about in-network versus out-of-network and why going out-of-network can actually be cheaper. So first off, let's assume you have a high deductible insurance plan. Even if you have an FSA or an HSA, if you have a high deductible insurance plan, odds are physical therapy is not covered. And if it's not covered on average with what people are encouraged to bill by their employers, which is a politically correct way of phrasing how some of the billing is going down in America right now, an evaluation can cost anywhere from $500 to $700. And a follow-up where you're billed different codes can cost anywhere between $300 and $600. And if you're going to a chain physical therapy clinic or even some private practices, depending on where you go, just the way the system works, insurance reimbursement's going down and people are forced to bill more. And so basically on average you're paying about $450 for a physical therapy visit if you have no deductible. I charge $125 a visit, which if you compare the two numbers, there really isn't an argument there. There's just not. But I do want to talk about also, so I do work in a hospital still, so I do see a lot of insurance plans and what is covered and what isn't covered. So say someone has a 90% co-insurance, like 90% of it's covered, and they only have to pay 10% out of pocket. So I took the average of all the numbers. So for an eval, that would be $600, so the patient would be responsible for paying $60. For a follow-up, on average of $300 to $600, that's $450, you'd be responsible for paying $45 of each follow-up visit. Now, if you're going to a typical clinic, they recommend that you go for an eval, and then usually it's let's come 2 times a week for 4 weeks and see where you get. I would argue that's probably not necessary. But if you do the math, for the 90% covered at 2 times a week for 4 weeks, that's paying $60 for the eval, $45 for all the follow-ups, you come out to $420. Which is a little bit more than the price of 3 visits with me. The way I do treatment is drastically different than that. I see you for an eval. It's the same price as the follow-up, so it's $125 for the eval. Then I usually I'll wait 1 to 2 weeks before seeing someone again. I'll give them a good home program. I'll get them doing what they need to do. And unless they want to come and do all the exercises in front of me, I send them on their way. I let them do it at home. Most people are super, super busy, and time is crucial and critical and so, so important that if they're going to do this stuff, they want to do it whenever it fits in their schedule. They don't want to have to show up at a clinic between 8 and 5 when they're normally working their day job in order to do their exercises. So I send them on their way. I give them their exercises. If they need more hands-on therapy, I let them know. But usually you can go a full week between hands-on therapy sessions. You don't need to come 2 times a week to get adequate results. So from there, for assuming if you're comparing the insurance paying 90% of the value being at $420 for 4 weeks, and I would see someone for an eval and then 1 to 2 follow-ups depending on how they're doing. Sometimes I go 3 weeks between seeing people because honestly, they just need to keep doing various things. I give them instructions on progressions. They do the progressions and then they come back and see me. We reassess. I give them new stuff or I tell them keep doing what you're doing and we go from there. So if you see me for an eval and 2 follow-up visits, so that's on the generous side of what I would see someone for in a 4-week time period, that total is going to be $375. That is still cheaper than having an insurance that pays 90% of what the physical therapy costs because that value is $420. However, if you factor in all those times that you're going to and from the clinic, that's a huge cost of your time too. I mean, time, you can't really put a price on that. That's value. So that's something to factor in. And even if you did go to an insurance-based clinic and you asked, hey, can I go 1 time a week? And you went 1 time a week for 3 weeks and you saw improvements, awesome, that's great, super excited for you. But there's still the benefit of seeing someone one-on-one, getting complete undivided attention. A lot of clinics now it's not a physical therapist with the patient the entire time. It's a physical therapist handing you off to an aide who's going through a sheet of exercises that doesn't know to look for, what if your shoulder blade moves just a little bit this way with this exercise? What does that mean? And then if it does that, do you actually really need to do the next 3 exercises, or is something else better for you and it's going to get you better faster? So there's an element of speed and efficiency that isn't really addressed by just looking at the cost and looking at the numbers. And also there's the element of having someone who's highly invested in your care. I mean, it's financially, it's on the line for me. It's my own business. I'm highly invested. I want you to do better because I genuinely care. And at the end of the day, if someone's coming to work and punching a clock, you don't have that same kind of passion behind it. You don't have someone who is going to be there 100% of the time and is willing to take text messages during the week or during in between follow-ups. People message me all the time. I check in for follow-ups. I make sure they don't have any questions. And if they do, I answer them. I'll hop on the phone for 5-10 minutes and we'll chat and we'll figure it out and we'll problem solve. And all that provides a value that just looking at what your insurance pays doesn't provide. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions about any of that, I'd be more than willing to ask. It's thought-provoking stuff. If you really think about what is value, what is price, what is cost, and how does all that kind of interplay, and what am I really getting, and do I know what I'm paying for? So things to think about. Thanks for jumping on. Those who jumped on, I appreciate it. Have a wonderful night.